Okay, on the Saturn, we are gonna test fuses in relays. There's two panels. This is the fuse panel with the engine compartment. So this is the engine compartment fuse and relay panel. And we're gonna take this panel off, cover off. It will tell us what the fuses and relays are on the inside. So you'll see this kind of a map in here. But here are our fuses, and here's our relays. We're specifically gonna test this one and this one today. There's also a relay and fuse box on this car inside the car, and it's actually on the passenger side. So we go on the passenger side, and here's some more relays, and here's some more fuses. Okay, remember, most of the fuses are dead unless we turn the ignition key on. So you got to make sure the key is on and the dash lights are lit. What that does is sends power to both the relays and the fuses here, and it also sends the power to the relays and fuses in the engine compartment. Okay, so this is all the tools we would use to test any part of a circuit, a relay, a fuse, in any circuit, including whatever you're trying to turn on. I'm using, in this case, the headlamp circuit. I'm going to use the horn circuit, and I'm going to use the cooling fan circuit. We're going to start off with a test light, and then because I ran into a problem finding a good ground, I'm going to show you how to use a power probe. And then after we get done using the power probe, by the way, I should tell you, the power probe is better than a test light. The tool carts all have a test light, but a power probe is a better tool. Then we're going to pull the relay out, and we're going to test the circuit, our AESWAVE tester. Okay, so we're going to be able to turn the circuit on just by hitting the switch. Then we're going to use this LISLE circuit tester. Okay, it's called LISLE, and I'm going to open this up, and specifically we're going to use these testers right here, and we're going to take the relay out, plug this in, and plug the relay right on top, and get access to our circuits. When we do that, we're going to also have to use our ohm meter and our voltmeter to test the circuit. So we will be using our ohm meter and our voltmeter on our multimeter here. After we get done with that, we'll pull the relay out, and then we're going to just use jumper wires, and we're going to use a battery, and we're also still going to use an ohm meter. And last, we're going to do amperage. We're going to measure amperage with what we call a fuse buddy. So we have a fuse buddy that works with a multimeter, or we have a fuse buddy where you just plug it in and you read the amperage. So these are all really cool test equipments for electrical circuits, and we're going to use every one. Alright, our first tool we're going to use is our test light. So I'm going to, this is the way I want our test light stored in the cabinet. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to unravel it. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, I'm going to hook it up to any ground. Matter of fact, this is a good ground. Anything that doesn't have paint. So paint's bad, okay? In this case, we have negative cable right next to our fuse box with the battery. So if you want the best ground, hook it up to where ground starts, which is at the battery. Our key has to be on with the dash lights on. So our dash lights are on. So that means our key is on. And now I'm going to take this test lead, and I'm going to go to each fuse one at a time. And I should get power on both sides. Let's start in this upper corner here. So I'm going to touch one side of it, and I should see power. And I go to the other side, I should see power. Perfect. Power, power. Those are good fuses. Power, power. Another good fuse. Okay, so we're going to continue on and find our bad fuses. So power, power, good fuse. Power, power, good fuse. No power, no power. That fuse is not bad, it's just dead. So there might be a switch that we have to turn on. This is not a bad fuse, it's just no power going to it. Power, power, good. No power, no power, two dead fuses. Power, 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 Power. No power. Power. Oh, there's a bad fuse. No power. Power. Bad fuse. Let's see. And yep, you can see the little element is broken in the middle. So that's my bad fuse. Okay. Let's go over to these. Let's check. So one blown fuse. Okay, now we're gonna go inside and check the fuses inside. Okay, so now we're gonna go inside the car. The dash lights are on, which means the key's on. And we have our test light right here. And here's our fuse panel. You gotta make sure you have a good ground. I was having a hard time videotaping it because I was clipping the ground onto this rust right here. And then when I touched the fuse, I wasn't getting any power. It was like, I'll just move it real quick and you'll see. Nothing. Oh, there we go. Got a good ground finally again. I also tried the bolt. The bolt wasn't a good ground. Yeah, so that bolt is awful ground. So you gotta be real careful where you put the ground for the test lead. So I attached it right to there, and then I should get power. And now let's see. Now I got it. So you always gotta make sure you have a good connection first with the ground lead, and then we're gonna go power, power. No power and power. There's our blown fuse right there. It's 25 amp fuse. See if we can see it up inside here. Power or no power? Power. So there's our blown fuse. Okay. Okay, since I was having such a bad time finding ground for that fuse, I decided I would show you a power probe. So I have it out of the box. This is a power probe. It has a big, long extension. And this is what I used to verify I had a bad ground with my test lead. Because the power probe, you could hook up directly to your battery with these test leads. And I wasn't going to include this in the video, but why not? So now I have not only a way to see voltage, so I can go here and I could actually see my voltage. And it's kind of hard to see, but it gives you a voltage reading because of the lights. But I could go, it gives you a different sound for ground and power. So I could go to each fuse, I can check power and power on each side. So because of the long lead, I was able to go all the way around the car, go inside, and I wasn't getting a good ground on this bracket here. And so this is connected directly to the battery, and it gives us a nice light. So now I can go power, power, let's see, power, 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 and this is the blown fuse. Ground, power, ground, power, and that's our blown fuse. And you'll see with the test light, I have no power, and then I have power. So the top one is my blown fuse. All right, proper tooth storage. I wound up my wire, my test light, and I'm gonna put that in a drawer where it goes where the socket set goes, and then my power probe. I'm gonna put this inside. I rolled it all up nice and neat. I'll put this inside. You gotta take off this tip sometimes, or you could just insert it right there, and this goes in, and drop the little leads, and then these go inside here. So I like my power probe put away just as neatly as my test light. Okay, we tested our fuses. Now we're going to test our relays. This is our horn relay, and this is our fan relay. You could also do a headlamp relay. Those are the three relays I would like you to do. Horn, your blower motor for your radiator, which is right here. Here's your radiator, okay? Or your headlamps. So we have access to our horn and our cooling fan right now. So I'm going to go ahead and use my AESWAVE. This is the easiest tool to use. So we're going to grab this, and we're going to grab the pigtail. Okay, the pigtail is real easy to hook up. It has two holes here. One is the bottom ones are spread apart and it has this dimple, and the other ones are closer together. And if you look at the back of this, see the dimple, and that's going to match with that dimple. And so this could only go on one way. Okay, so I'm going to put this on, put that up, okay, got that in position, and now you just take the relay out and you plug this in. So I take this relay out, you plug this in right here, okay, and you go up to the switch and you could hit the on button. There you go. So my horn circuit works. Could it be the relay? If it was the relay that's causing the problem, because I know there's nothing wrong with my fuses and my circuit going to my horn. So I might want to just take this relay right here, it's the same, and switch it with this one. And then go inside the car and try it. Okay, so it wasn't my relay. Okay, but this is just practice. So it's a really good way of checking relays. Just swap them. We could just swap these two relays, okay? Or we could use this and find out if our circuits work. So let's pull the fan relay out. We're going to take this and plug it into where the fan relay was. Grab our little adapter, and we should hit the on. And you can see that it's spinning. You might not be able to see, but you can sure hear it. Make sure your fingers aren't in there when you turn it on. And all I'm doing is I'm toggling the switch. So the wires going to the fan are good, and the fan is good as well. So we know the fan's good, and we know that the horn is good on this circuit. Or we know the fan is good on this circuit, and we know the horn is good on this circuit. Okay. All right. So that is my AESWAVE tester. Really cool little tool here. I just want to show you when you're done using it, roll this up nice and neat and put away my tools the way it should be. Okay? Okay, now we're going to use our LISLE master relay and fuse tester. I'm going to open this up. We're never going to really use these test leads. We're only going to use these up here. They're really cool. We're going to pull one out right now. So you take the relay out and you plug this in when the relay goes, and you plug the relay on top. But I want you to look real closely at the bottom of this. You see pins 85 and 86? This is the control side of the circuit. So this side of this tower gives you access all the way to the horn switch and to power. So it gives you access to the power and to the ground of the horn switch. Okay? If I flip it over to this side, you'll see pins 87, 87A, and pin 30. This is what's connected to the horn itself. Okay? So if you want to test the power and ground circuit to the horn, this is this side. If you want to check the power and ground to the switch on the steering wheel, you use this side. So let's go to the car. I'm going to pull my relay out, slip it right to the side. I'm going to plug this in right where the relay went, and then I'm going to plug my relay right on top. And believe it or not, that relay is still going to work because I could go up here to the steering wheel and hit the horn, and the horn still works because I have my relay connected. Okay, now this also gives us the ability to test our leads and check for voltages. So I'm going to use my DVOM. First I'm going to check for voltages. Okay, so I'm going to put it on DC volts, okay, which is right here. I'm going to take my ground wire and I'm going to stuff it inside here so I can get good ground. And then I'm going to grab my test lead, my positive lead, and I could check for power. And I should see voltage. So I'm going to test the first lead right there. And if you look, I got 12 volts. Okay. So that is the control side of the circuit going to the switch. So I have power there. Now I'm going to go to the horn side of the switch and make sure I have power. So I'm going to touch it right to this terminal. And I should see 12 volts, and I do. See? So you could check power on both sides of the circuits. You should have power. Perfect. To check ground, we could use an ohm meter to check the resistance going to the ground side, which is probably the best way. Okay. The other thing is we could test the ohm meter on the coil here. So let's switch this to an ohm meter now. Okay, I'm going to switch it to an ohm meter. Okay, and I'm going to check from ground to the horn. So I'm going to hook it to here, and I should see a little bit of resistance, and that's the resistance going from this terminal all the way over to our horn, which is going to be right in front, all the way underneath, somewhere down inside here. Okay. There's my horn right here. So here's my horn. So when I use the ohm meter, I check from that test lead all the way down underneath the car. Here's our horn to this wire right here, and then through the horn to ground. And that's how I was getting that ohm reading. Okay. Now the other way to do an ohm reading, like I say, is to go ahead and check the coil on this relay. So I'm going to get my, because this is going to be very hard with using one hand with the camera and one hand with the test leads. So I got to get my test leads where they're pretty close together. Okay, and then I'm going to go right here. I'm going to touch both of these, and you'll see 93 ohms. Okay, that is the resistance inside my relay. Let's see if I get it again. There we go. It looks like 58.5 ohms. So that is the resistance inside my relay. Okay, so the other way to test your relay is out of the car. And so I'm going to go ahead and hook up a battery tester, or just a battery, using jumper wires, just like I did the other day. Okay, but in order to do that, I need to know which one is the coil side. So I need to use an ohm meter to figure out which one of these is the coil of the relay. Okay, I'm ready to go now. So I want to use a jumper wire to figure out the coil side of this relay. It does give you pin numbers on the bottom, really hard to read, but I have the jumper wires hooked up to pin 85, which is the black one, and the white one's hooked up to pin 86. So I believe that's the coil side of my relay. And then I have my voltmeter, or my ohm meter, connected to the white jumper, and then I'm going to hook up my red lead to this other pin, and then I'm going to just switch it to ohms. And I have 94.3 ohms. I actually have higher ohms outside of the car than inside the car. So I would say I had a better connection inside the car than I do outside the car. These jumper wires are very cheap, and these probably have resistance in them too. All right, so that is my coil side and my relay because there's resistance. If I switch the leads to the other side, it's going to be an L or OL for out of limit. That's my switch side. But I'm going to leave it there because this is what I want to do. And this is really cool. I want to hook up my battery to the coil side, to these two leads. And then this should switch to 0 ohms when I power up these two. So now I'm going to go get 2 jumper wires. Okay, so I'm using green and yellow for my battery, and now I'm going to hook it up to these 2 terminals on the coil. I should hear a click. When I hear a click, this on the ohm meter should go from out of limit to 0. So I'm going to hook up my first lead to this right here, and then I'm going to take my other lead, and you should hear it click. Let's see. Yep, it clicks. So I'm going to hook this up, and when I hook it up, you should see it go to 0. And it does. And when I disconnect it, it should go to LL. This is all I'm doing. I'm hooking this up to here, and it goes to 0 ohms. And then when I'm going to disconnect it, and then it goes through OL. So this would be an example of a good relay. A bad relay would be when I hook this up right here, you would see no change at all. It would stay OL. And that would be a bad relay if it never got off of OL. Okay, one last tool that I have not shown you is what we call a fuse buddy. So a fuse buddy reads amperage. So you take the fuse out and you insert it into this slot, and then you plug this where the fuse goes, and it gives you the amperage. Again, you take the fuse out, plug it into where the fuse goes, and then this gives you amperage. Those need batteries right now, so this little special battery is dead on these two, so I'm going to get these fixed for you for shop day. But this one you use with the meter. So you plug this into the fuse box, and you plug the fuse into here. So let's go, and you have to plug it into your meter on the jacks for the ammeter. So I'm going to pull this out, these 2 jacks, and get rid of these. I'm going to turn this to amperage, and we want to use amperage right here, and this stands for AC or DC. So I'm going to move this all the way to amperage, AC or DC. Okay, I'm going to go, and I want you to do this on a headlamp circuit. So you would turn the headlamps on. And so I got both my headlamps on right now. And I'm going to figure out which one of these fuses, and I already have, which one of these fuses turns off the headlight. Now there's one fuse for each side. So this is the one that turns off the left side. So here's my fuse. I'm going to take that fuse, and I'm going to stick it into my fuse buddy right here. Okay, so I got this installed. Now I'm going to go to where it plugs into my fuse panel right here. Plug that in. Come grab my ammeter. And I'm going to plug this in just like we've been training. So red lead's going to go to an amp, the amp scale. And the black lead is going to go to comp. And the headlight should light. Let's see, I had on the wrong one. There we go. I had on the wrong one. That was a dead fuse spot. So the headlight's on, and it's off. It's on, and what's my amperage? 3.75 for this one bulb. Now I will tell you that the negative, all it means is I need to take this and just flip it around and plug it in. And this is what we call a fuse buddy. So the best place to check your amperage is at the fuses, because this is why they give you amp ratings. Okay, here's like a 2 amp, that's a really small one, then a 20 amp. We're putting it into a 10 amp circuit. Okay, and so when we blow the fuse, we would blow it when we exceeded this 10 amps. And if you look at it, we're not blowing this fuse because we're at 3.73 amps. Okay, so that headlamp circuit's drawing exactly what it's supposed to. All right,